Who knows? He might dive bomb us on air, and it'll be hilarious. But I've had him. I've had him get in a few times over the years. For some reason, this year that's like the fourth or fifth one. I was sitting here playing a freaking zombie apocalypse video game at like 3 o'clock in the morning a couple weeks ago. One buzzed my head, scared the shit out of me.
I can imagine.
Sitting here with the lights off, my headphones on, hunting zombies down a dark tunnel. Whack! Comes out of nowhere and whacks me in the back of the head. Shit! Okay, good morning. So, we are sitting here this bright, beautiful morning with the back door standing open because we've got a guest. Got a bird in the studio. And I tried to catch him, but he flew back into the part of the basement where I have to bend over a lot to get at him. So I was like, yeah, you know what? You're good. Door's open. Leave when
Birds
you're
are
ready.
actually really difficult to catch. When I did pest control, we had this thing that if I were to show it to you, it would make perfect sense. But it was basically a net on two telescopic poles, two telescopic poles, and it was perfect for this, and nothing else worked.
This is the fourth or fifth one that's gotten in the basement this year. I usually get one or two a year around this time. This is about the fourth or fifth one this year, and I'm actually pretty good once they get out here in the studio area. I've actually gotten pretty good at just throwing a hat over them and then slipping a piece of cardboard under the hat and carrying them outside. But yeah, so we got a bird in the studio, and that's been fun.
Man,
So
I am so glad to know too, because I'm telling you, man. You had left to go handle something. I'm down here. I'm editing something on that wedding that I was working on, and I thought there was a bird down here, but I couldn't see a bird down here, and I'm sure you understand. Like that ended up being extremely disturbing. Like, do I hear fluttering? That is what I hear, right?
Sergeant Major says the cat patrol is pushing them. Yeah, we have no, Dave. There will be no shotguns in the studio.
Well, but that's not true. There are.
Okay, there will not be the operation of any shotguns inside the studio. They're stored in the studio.
Well, there will not
safely.
be firing of shotguns
Okay,
inside
fair
the
enough.
studio. Okay,
Fair enough.
even operation is.
Remember when we were watching the election in 2016, and I just sat here and cleaned my guns, drinking beer and eating hot wings. It was like 8 hours, and then they threw us off.
Hey, so let's say hey to some people, because Scrimshaw says can only stay for a few minutes. Got to give my son a ride. So,
And we have quite a few people watching already, guys. I appreciate the hell out of this. Patrick drew first blood this morning to Steve right behind him. There's his Honorable Majesty Jim Lowry popping in on Twitch. I still think it's freaking hilarious that the old Smadge watches on Twitch.
Dude, I'm gonna laugh when you find out that he's like a top 1,000 ranked Fortnite player, and he's just been hiding it from you.
It's not like he doesn't have the skill set.
It's like, Chris, I've got the rainbow sniper rifle and everything unlocked. Wait, what?
Morago.
Let's see. Good morning to
Megan.
Dan Burks. And then Megan, always fantastic. We've got Anarchy and TV. Home Depot stopped selling bird seed because of so many birds inside. I could tell you, Dan, as somebody that used to do commercial pest control, once those birds get in, brother, they ain't getting out. Unlike that whole outdoor garden area, yeah, that's just going to have birds.
Yeah.
And not to spook you, but probably also rats.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they pay people like me lots of money to control them, but there's a reason why they don't call it exterminators anymore. They call it pest control.
Right. We had a rat in the garage a couple weeks ago. And when
I'm
I
sure
say
your
we
wife
had
loves you telling this story,
when,
too.
when I say we had a rat in the garage a couple weeks ago, it was a good sized rat, not huge, but it was a pretty good sized rat. But she called me, and I was on the other side of the frickin' state shooting some properties, and she called me to tell me that there was a rat and to ask me what to do about it. And she starts describing the situation, and apparently the rat had gotten its tail stuck under the corner of the garage fridge, and was just there, and it wasn't moving, but it looked like it was breathing. So it was an old ass rat, is what it was. It basically just stopped walking in our garage and stood there until it died of old age. Almost. When I got home and found it, it wasn't quite dead. So I scooped it up with a shovel and spiked it on the fire pit.
And good morning to Georgia Constitution Media. Dude, no. A shovel. One good, sharp whack. And you're done. It's what, again, pest control. It's what I used to do.
I
used
give it
to
one
have
good sharp splat.
Well, no, because then you have guts to clean up.
Not if you throw it in the fire pit. I picked it up with a shovel. I took it to the bonfire burn pit in the backyard, and I just spiked it into the pit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like you took the shovel and like engaged in decapitation.
No.
It's like,
I used the shovel like a manual trebuchet and just splattered it against a piece of 2x4 that was laying in the burn pit waiting to get consumed.
pretty sure all trebuchets are manual. That's why they have a counterweight on.
No, they're mechanical.
Well, yeah, but they're still operated manually. Like, I've never seen an electronic trebuchet.
That's like
it's
saying
not
that,
necessary.
It's like saying that all cars are manual.
No. Well, okay. All right. Speaking of technology.
Segway! I've always wanted a Segway because I want to put a maw deuce on it. Just because I think I'm heavy enough to counterbalance the thing. Anyway, so
yeah,
the story
but once
we're
your
gonna be
barrel walks up, you're just gonna flip over backwards.
you gotta lean. If you're gonna put the maw deuce on the Segway, you got to be prepared to lean into it, baby. Dave says, "No, I want an electronic trebuchet. I want a trebuchet mounted to a Crows on top of a MATV, armored vehicle, robot turret, trebuchet."
I just want a trebuchet.
I built one with the kids once. It was part of it was a math class.
No, I don't want a math class like I'm gonna launch a single potato trebuchet. I want like I'm gonna launch not even just a sack of potatoes,
right.
like a barrel of potatoes trebuchet.
Okay. In the comments, there are pumpkin throwing, watermelon throwing competitions about in the South where people build trebuchets, launchers, catapults, gas-powered potato rockets, stuff like that. And let us know. Would you watch that show if we went down there and covered that? I already know the answer, but I want comments. Just make comments. And I see a Dai7 Aini. That's adorable. You are
the weakest link.
You are the weakest link. Thank you very
Goodbye.
much. So, today in technology, we're talking about school shootings in an interesting new context. Cameron and I talked about several different things that we might discuss this morning, and then I stumbled across this. Taser maker halts drone project as most of its ethics panel resigns.
So,
That headline, like, I wish I had more information before I saw the headline. But here's what it is. Taser maker Axon Enterprise Incorporated said it was halting a project to equip drones with stun guns to combat mass shootings, a reversal that did not stop most of its ethics advisory board members from announcing their resignation on Monday in protest over the original plans. So before you say anything else, before we get any further into this, I just want to point out, it sounds like the problem solved itself, Axon. Move forward.
hey, we have Janet Doyle joined us this morning. So
Good morning, Janet. Welcome to the show. Hit that subscribe button and make sure that you're still with us this Friday when we do Firearms Friday. Because God knows we don't want you going into the weekend without a good old-fashioned safety brief.
Yeah, just at first blush, I'd be inclined to agree with you. If the dead weight chooses to exit your company,
You've done your job.
yeah, like everybody, what? You don't have to fire them. You don't have to worry about nasty.
There he is.
That.
I'm a little amazed he hasn't beat himself to death yet. All right, we're going to white hat this poor little buddy. And there
Out
he
the
goes.
door.
Right out the door. Victory. So, Janet says schools should have armed guards. We 100% agree with that. In fact, on this show and generally in the Horde, as it were, we tend to believe that what needs to happen is
Arm the world.
the government should just come back into compliance with the law, which says that, good morning, Your Majesty.
What the hell? Did Mom tell you I was on my way over so you come and slam the door as I walk up?
No,
the bird
just
flew
flew out. The bird just flew out. So
what
the
happens
Sergeant
when you
Major
give
has
a mouse
wandered
a
in the
cookie?
door. But yeah, Janet, so on this show we tend to believe that the government should be brought back into compliance with the law, which says that the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And I'd like to point out that within the Second Amendment there is no mention or even allusion to an exception to that claim. In fact, I often compare the Second Amendment to the First Amendment, pointing out that in the First Amendment it says that the Congress shall make no law. You know, free speech, freedom of press, religion, petition, assembly, etc. But the Second Amendment does not make any reference to the Congress. The Second Amendment does not establish a restriction on government specifically, but rather on the restriction broadly. And so any signatory to any law which infringes, which is to say is related to the keeping and bearing of arms, is a criminal in violation of the Constitution under Section 242. That's
Okay.
not an opinion. That's just the law. But the taser drones. So I'm all for taser drones.
I like it.
This idea. So basically, the idea. Imagine, if you will,
It would teach you to keep your doors closed.
a
though.
diaper changing station, as Cameron was describing
Yes.
earlier.
Yeah, like it's bolted into the wall, and like it's bright yellow. It's got warning stickers on it. You unlock it. You flip it down, type in your password, and the whole station's right there. The remote, the drone, it's all just plugged into power. And yeah, also the comments are saying that we need to get you a chair.
Oh no!
Is there a
I'm
third
I'm-
chair?
I don't
No.
have another chair tall enough for you to enjoy in this
I would have
position.
to be on a bar stool, and that would hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
I'll
I'm not
get
going
you
to be
one.
here very long.
I'll get you one.
No.
I mean, not right now. Like, I'll order one and just have it on tap. I need to put a drafting stool on that table anyway.
Yeah, but as silly as it sounds, I'm also okay with it. It's sort of like, let's have as many options as possible. Like, in fact, the left frequently argues, well, let's give cops all these non-lethal options.
Right. And what we're
Actually-
talking about is a drone about this size. This is a Mavic 2 Pro, right? So what we're talking about is a drone about this size. And,
This is a taser.
well, and actually it's the...
No, that's a camera, yes.
Well, no, I know. This is a camera that's... But on the drone in question, let me show you all a picture of it. Like, this is the concept design for the drone. As you can see, there's
It's even got...
there's an LRF, there's a laser range finding laser right below the eye of the camera of the drone, and then you see these four spots here. Those are the four prongs for the actual taser.
Ooh, I think it needs pepper balls.
Right? I'd be good with that.
Yeah.
The only drawback I see there is the added weight, because one of the things I was going to point out, the complaints that are being made by the board are that these will negatively affect these may negatively affect over-policed communities. And we all know what they mean by that. We mean these
They mean
Wokies
drones are
afraid
racist.
we mean these Wokies are afraid that the drones are racist and they'll prevent BLM members from committing crimes, which we can only hope.
And what kind of an admission is that where you're specifically worried that things are going to go wrong in schools because of these things, because of over-policed communities?
Right.
I think someone should ask Mayor Adams in New York to explain that.
Dave Bowen says, just to be fair, I could shoot a taser drone down. Dave, you'd be surprised. And this isn't a commentary on your marksmanship generally, but more on how tough these drones are. For example, this exact drone that I'm holding in my hands, this one suffered a mass battery failure
Crashed into
a couple
a tree.
months ago, and just dropped out of the sky and fell into the top of a pine tree about 60 feet up. And if y'all, this was several weeks ago when we had real bad thunderstorms for a week. You know, it was hailing in Georgia at like the beginning of, or the end of March. And this bad boy spent a whole week sitting in that tree, in that rain, until the wind, you know, I tried to get it back, but it was just too high up and I couldn't get a good grip on it. The wind finally blew it out of the tree 60 feet up and knocked it down to about 40 feet into a thinner tree, which I was able to just shake the shit out of until the drone fell and landed hard on the ground. I picked it up like this, and it's as if nothing happened.
So, Jeff Goldblum's Silent Fart Finds a Way points out that the BLM shooter in Dallas was killed by a drone. They literally just stuck a bomb to the drone, flew it over to the shooter, and then just dropped it on him and went beep, and problem was solved. So, the concept works. And yeah, you know, Dave, you could shoot the drone out of the sky if you wanted to, but got to do something, right? I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, you can counteract anything. Like, you can have a fire escape plan, and then you can have a fire so bad you throw that fire escape plan away.
Correct.
And use multiples.
Well, if
I mean, drone swarms are a thing.
Drone swarms would present a problem inside a building.
Two is all you would need.
One is all you would need.
If one, but
I mean,
to overcome the shooting part.
I mean, I'm with you, Sergeant Major, on two is one and one is none. One will get the job done, but I never run on the plan that when I go shoot a property, I carry a spare drone usually and spare batteries for each drone, right? You know, emergency backup batteries, extra SD cards, all that stuff. Two is one is none. But what is Steve replying to? Oh, there it is. Gotcha. Jeff Goldblum's Silent Farts has a quote from the article about the remote controlled robot to carry the explosive device, and in fairness, yeah, they used a robot in that one. They actually used an EOD type robot, so that was on wheels or tracks. And when people say drone, usually what they mean is an unmanned aerial vehicle like this. But I brought this one out as just to kind of show you the size of this thing. You can easily fly something like this inside, up and down hallways. I've seen me do it. And they're fantastic. The control, when you get to this level, you know, you're talking about $2,000, give or take, worth of drone here. Something like this is GPS stabilized. It basically flies itself. You can in fact pull up a GPS like satellite map and just draw on an iPad with an Apple Pencil. Here's the route I want you to patrol, and hit go, and the drone will do it. And I mean, even this one has the obstacle avoidance devices, which I'm here to tell you, those can easily be replaced or upgraded with something that can do facial recognition. I worked with I mentioned them earlier when we were joking about the trebuchets. Worked with common remote operated weapon stations in Afghanistan, which were connected to systems called it's not boomerang. It is a boomerang, but it's a series of microphones set up around the system. So when a sniper fires, the control monitor for the weapon system says sniper detected. Press select to engage, and you go, yes please, and you hit the select button, and the maw deuce on top of the truck goes, and it just swings around to the the point of origin where that sniper shot was detected from, and it points 1,000 cameras and a bunch of laser rangefinder devices and a 50 caliber machine gun at where it thinks the bullet came from, and then you can light it up. And by the way, if you ever have the opportunity to fire a maw deuce from a mobile platform, you're facing the monitor, but the gun is pointed that way on top of the truck, and you pull that trigger, and the whole truck goes. It's a wonderful feeling.
Okay, so Janet Doyle says, I'd rather have an experienced shooter than a drone at schools. What if the drone accidentally misses and gets a child? A real person in there has a better side of the situation. I don't disagree with anything that you're saying. But here's the deal. This is a solution, or at least a potential solution, that's worth discussing. And it's something that could happen in tandem with a real person being a backup to the drone, or a drone being a backup to the real person. What we're getting at here is that the reason why this got shut down is not because it's a bad idea, not because we're engaged in the type of discussion you and I are engaged in right now. We're saying this idea is being shut down because drones are racist, basically. Like, 9 of the 12 companies' AI ethics board quit over concerns the drones would harm over police communities, and that Axon publicized its ambitions without consulting the group. The resignations and Axon's scuttled plans were first reported to Reuters. That's why we're talking about this. The left is going to say, "Oh my God, we don't need more guns in schools. Don't do that. Oh, that's so terrible."
Right. This argument right here is a patent admission that what we're interested in is the opposite of equal protection under the law. Right. What these 9 members are interested in is racial supremacy. They are anti-white ethno-supremacists that prefer and insist upon special treatment for non-white people. That's what you're getting here.
And they're not saying, "Oh, do you want Skynet? Because this is how you get Skynet." I think that's a valid counter argument.
Yeah,
that's a thing that we should.
That's a whole other show.
And I would like to know what kind of company or corporation even has a 12-member artificial intelligence ethics board. What kind of junk are they trying to hide by? You have a CEO that works for the board that's supposed to make money, and that CEO is supposed to make the decisions. And a 12-member panel is nothing but a smokescreen to hide your decisions behind. And that's crazy.
And I want to make. We need to answer. We need to answer Dave's question. And Dave, the answer to your question, how about doorway threshold trapdoors with tigers in them? The answer to that question is, I want you to understand that you are indirectly suggesting that Tiger King should be put in charge of the children's security. And I suspect many of you, I managed to avoid watching that garbage, but I've heard some stuff.
Oh man, you gotta watch Tiger King. That shit is awesome.
Dude, the first couple of episodes in particular are just like, it's shocking.
So I'm not wrong.
This is just like
putting
NASCAR.
Putting the Tiger King in charge of the children's security in the schools is not our best play.
Oh no, I would disagree. Putting Tiger King in charge of the security at the schools, there would never be another school shooting ever.
It would be very abusive of the tigers. You can't do that to a cat.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe the next time I feel like I hate myself, I'll turn on this bizarre psychopathy that you're insisting upon.
I'm not insisting. I'm saying, like, it's one of those things that the ex-wife and I watched as lockdown got going, and it was golly, once you got into it, like,
Train wreck. You can't turn your
Right.
head away.
Well, and Tiger King was a perfect storm because it happened at the beginning of the lockdown.
I mean, like, dude, this show included, among other things, straight dudes pretending to be gay so they could own pink shotguns. And that is a 100% factual statement.
I missed that. Maybe I should watch it again.
That's all right.
Oh, okay. But no, for real. I would actually be, I mean, if, there's a few caveats, but I'd be okay with this. Like, we've got fire extinguishers in
Yes.
schools. We've got carbon monoxide detectors in schools. And I'm a big fan of also having magnetic locks in schools. And magnetic locks, just because you've got one entrance doesn't mean you don't have a dozen exits. Okay? And that's the way magnetic locks work. And yeah, of course, I'd love to allow teachers to be able to arm themselves. Duh. But putting all that aside, having some type of workable solution, and I do think that this is a solution at least worth discussing. Okay, I'm okay with it. Let's at least have the discussion. And I'm actually more inclined to agree with this idea because at this point in time in my life, as soon as somebody goes racist, I go, oh, really? So what you're really saying is I had a good idea and you don't have a good counter argument, and so you pulled out the race card on me.
Right.
Sure, make a note.
Yeah, just quickly. Well, because I suddenly realized I don't actually have a mechanism to pull this up right now. But Janet Doyle in the comments, I can see it, but I would like to have just been able to pop it up there. Janet said, and I wanted to address this, I would rather have an experienced shooter than drone at schools. What if drone accidentally misses and gets a child? A real person in there has better sight of the situation. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of pushback there, Janet. The fact of the matter is that the drone would be operated by a person. So basically, I read several articles earlier that dealt more with the way the plan works, and I think this is one of them. The flying would be pre-installed. So the flying taser drones would be pre-installed in school ceilings, so an officer could launch one within seconds of a reported shooting, piloting through special vents and into locked classrooms, stunning the gunman with shock darts and shouting commands like "Stay down or you will be hit again." Right. So what we're talking about is not a drone that is autonomous. We're talking about a drone that is controlled by what would otherwise be the same guys going in there with their firearm drawn to do the good work. But another major advantage to something like this, drones like that can be operated very remotely, right? And obviously one of the biggest problems with dealing with an active shooter is when seconds matter, the police are minutes away.
But I agree with Janet Doyle, and it should be a combined arms approach.
I'm always for a combined arms approach.
The best thing is a trained shooter available first, but add to it. Add more layers of the defense.
Correct, because and for part of that, we're having a lot of pushback on just trying to get armed resource officers to be in all the schools.
Let's go back down. You move the thing back over.
Oh yeah, because there's more comments coming in. Sorry. Damn, you broke my train. Oh, so another problem is that we don't actually have armed resource officers in every school like we should. I'll get to that too in just a second, Steve, and then we need to wrap this up. But the drone could be deployed like the instant that a 911 call is made.
They hear the keyword active shooter,
and the drone's
deployed. Immediately deployed.
Right. And you've got the drone being operated by a person, but there's nothing to keep that drone from having automated technology on board, like something like the boomerang technology. You've got a fistful of microphones on it that triangulate the sound of a gunshot and start moving in that direction. So you could have the drone get eyes on the active shooter, sending actionable intelligence back to your active breaching unit before they're even on the ground ready to breach the door. And in the best case scenario with the drone, you have actually already subdued the active shooter using the drone before the breach even occurs. And then, Steve, the hacked armed drones are worth considering. I agree. Now, for this conversation, what we're talking about is Taser drones. And the thing about a Taser is it's a cartridge weapon. It's a one and done. So the potential for significant collateral damage is very, very limited. Now, that said, we are talking about deploying it around children, and so collateral damage, when you're talking about a Taser with children, the possibility of a casualty, of an actual lethal casualty, is increased significantly over the possibility of accidentally killing an adult criminal or an adult casualty.
Well, yeah, but the thing that's unacceptable is to do nothing. The reason why we're having this conversation, Janet, and I hear your concerns about how maglocks can fail and windows can still be broken, and yes, the problem is we had people on the ground. The boys in blue, that thin blue line was right there in Uvalde, and apparently they were even inside the building, had a pretty good idea which classroom this kid was in.
We've seen some pictures. That thin blue line ain't so thin. You need to lay off the donuts and pick up some damn training.
If you think about it, though, the price of one drone, especially a remote control drone,
it's nothing compared to an officer.
It's cheaper than officers, but think about how many cans of mace or how many tasers you could hand out to teachers.
Right.
And train them for 2 days during the summertime when they're supposed to be at the beach and say, listen, you have one more little job. When the shooter comes in your door, pepper spray him or shoot him with the taser. It's non-lethal. If a kid gets hit, you clean them up, send them back to school.
Send them to the shower in the gym for the pepper spray. Yeah, it's real hard to be an active shooter if you're blind.
Man can't see, he can't fight. Cobra Kai.
See, but that's the thing. The reason why we're having this discussion is, and it didn't just happen in Uvalde either. Like the school shooting in Florida, like you had the cops said, no, I've got this door secure. Okay, that's great, but now what? Yeah, exactly. I'm going to wait here at this door.
Yeah, we've had school shootings going like crazy for over 20 years and no solutions. The solutions are easy, and the politicians have no desire to put real solutions out there to this problem that puts their face in front of the camera and they can cry about the dead children. Remember Vietnam?
You've been here too long. I'm totally going to have to get you a stool.
The first thing that we heard getting off airplane was baby killer.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm out.
Love you, Sergeant Major.
Bye.
Hey, we're actually we got to wrap up anyway because I need to have already left. Thanks for watching this morning, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave an actual comment in the comments below as well, please. And share the shit out of these shows. Share. That's what's going to help us break the next threshold. We're butting right up against 600. So let's get that done. And again, love you. Thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow for Wokeism Wednesdays. Batman?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay. So we'll see you then.